Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. So we will continue our discussion on sociology. So if you remember, we started off with the first topic in your paper 1, chapter 1. So we have done with paper 1, chapter 1, the topic 1. So this is actually the topic 2, scope of the subject, scope of sociology and comparison with other social sciences. You can see here the questions asked as scope of sociology, discuss the scope of sociology and compare it with other social sciences. So here first part is you need to discuss the scope, then you need to compare it with sociology versus economy, sociology versus history, sociology versus political science, sociology versus anthropology, etc. Now all these can also be asked as a separate short note. You need to prepare a separate short note on sociology versus economy, sociology versus anthropology, etc. All these separate notes, short notes need to be prepared, okay? Now, if you go for a quick recap of what we have done in the previous session related to emergence of sociology. So I'll quickly tell you in 1 minute what we have done. We have talked about dark ages. Okay, I'm not discussing what is that. Then we have talked about age of enlightenment, and we have discussed age of enlightenment as or Renaissance period. The entire period is known as Renaissance period. And there we have talked about scientific revolution, commercial revolution and intellectual revolution, and we have also discussed about modernity in association to it and which various dimensions of modernity, like intellectual dimension of modernity, political dimension of modernity, like transition from authoritarian to democracy, then economic dimension of modernity, like new types of accounting techniques, new factories, etc. Then we have also discussed about the social dimension of modernity, right? Nuclear families, migration, industrial society, secularism, all these. Now all these led to some profound social changes in society. So we have discussed about those social changes. We have discussed the micro changes and the macro changes which is visible at the level of whole society also. And then we have said that this is the context of emergence of sociology, and there is a need to redefine the society was felt. So the existing bodies of knowledge could not explain all these social changes at that point of time. So need for new discipline, and that's the context of emergence of sociology. And Saint Simon initially thought of social physics on the line similar to natural sciences. Later, Auguste Comte not only coined the term sociology but also laid the basic foundation of the subject, and he is known as the father of sociology. So that's what we have done in the first session. Now here what we are going to do is, see, after the emergence of sociology, what happened? With the contribution of a lot of thinkers, the scope of sociology actually widened. For example, initial sociologists wanted to give that initial legitimacy to the discipline. This is a very young discipline. So at that time, people always had this obsession towards science. So they tried to make it on the line similar to natural science to get that legitimacy, initial acceptance, okay? So then you can see the scope is widened, and that's what we are actually going to understand here. So what I'll do is, we will discuss the scope in terms of 4 different phases. So let's say the first phase is, this is the first phase, okay, like 1838 to 1880. This is the first phase. Then second phase we will discuss in terms of 1880 to 1940. Okay, 1880 to 1940. Third phase 1940 to 1990. Then 1990 to up till now. Okay, till now. So this is how you can actually easily understand the phase. Now let me tell you one thing. If this question is asked, you will be in a position to write a very good answer. Even if, see, what I'm going to give you, there's actually a ready-made answer, well prepared answer, no doubt in that. Okay, I'll give you this and I'll explain everything that we have done here. But I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing you, once you have done sociology with me, you will be in a position to write your own answer for this particular question in a much better way. Because what all things that I'm going to discuss here is actually related to your syllabus. What is the scope of sociology? It is what you're going to study in the entire syllabus, right? Once we complete sociology, you will be in a position to write a better answer for the question, what is the scope of sociology? You will be able to tell what is actually the scope of sociology. What all things you're studying, you can make it very clear here, okay? So it will be very easy for you to write your answer once you have done with sociology. So since this is the second topic in your syllabus and since we are going in the order, I'm taking it. Otherwise, actually this topic is not worth discussing in the class, and there is no need to give you note also, because I'm telling you again, even if I'm giving you these notes, you will be in a position to write a very good answer for, especially for this topic, because what all things that we are going to discuss here in short, we will be covering in detail. For example, we talk about Weber here, we talk about Durkheim here, we will talk about Parson here. All these are the thinkers that you need to study in detail, and for each thinker I'll be taking around 5 sessions for each thinker. I'll be taking 5 sessions. I am telling you again, I'll be taking minimum 5 sessions for Weber, minimum 5 for Durkheim, minimum 5 for Parson. So here every of those thinkers I am confining to this particular single session. So that's the reason why I've told you, once you have done with sociology, this question is going to be a cakewalk for you. So my opinion is, you don't want to mug up this note now. Just have an idea. This is what we are going to discuss in the future. That's it. Okay. So the first phase, we will be talking about 2 important thinkers here. First one, the founding father of sociology, that is Auguste Comte. Auguste Comte. So for him, the scope of sociology is actually, he explained the scope of sociology in 2 books, The Course of Positive Philosophy and System of Positive Polity. I'll give you that book names in detail later in the PDF. So in that book, he actually delineated the scope of sociology in terms of social statics and social dynamics. As its name indicate, social static means static part, dynamic means the changing part. Like in your GS paper, what is the static part? Polity, history, geography, economy, these are static subjects we say, right? What is the changing part? Current affair. Like that here also, static part means the social structure, the organization, etc. What is the changing part? That is a social change. So it's all about, sociology is all about studying social structure and change. So sociology is all about studying the static and the dynamic part. The structure, the non-changing as well as changing. That means everything, right? So the structure as well as change. Okay, so that's about the scope of sociology according to Auguste Comte, and he also proposed, you have to make laws of social organization, because he want to consider sociology as science. So if you need to consider science, making law is very important. Okay, so making a theory, making laws which is generally applicable, which is universally applicable, is a very important concern of the initial sociologist. So he made universal laws. He claimed to be made universal laws, but whether it is acceptable or accepted or not, or rejected is a different question. We'll come to that, but he is in the opinion that universal laws has to be made. Okay, then second we will talk about Herbert Spencer. Okay, now as I have told you, the initial sociologists, they wanted to make it on the line similar to natural sciences. So he is of the opinion that sociology is similar to biology, and how he tried to do that is basically he compared the basic subject matter of sociology. What is that? Society. Subject matter of biology, that is an organism. So what he did, he basically compared society with an organism. To these 2 subjects he wanted to make a comparison, so he made a comparison with the subject matter like society and organism. So he made a comparison between society and organism. So if you see, society is composed of a lot of subsystems. So society, if need to function, there has to be some subsystems which are enabling the function of society. For example, economic system, political system, cultural system, family system. So society is all about systems, and all these systems are actually ensuring the functioning of the system. Right? So these subsystems are ensuring the functioning of the society, just like organs in our body, that is ensuring the function of the organism, right? So what he did is he actually compared subsystem, like for example economic system, political system, okay, etc., with organs in the body. So just like how organs are helping in the functioning of organism, subsystems are helping in the functioning of society. And further he made a deeper level understanding by comparing the next level, that is groups. You will see different groups in subsystem, like political system there will be groups, family system there will be groups, okay, economic system there will be groups. He compared it with tissues. Okay, and what is the ultimate reducible element in an organism? That is the cells. So what about society? What is the ultimate reducible element of society? That is the individuals. So finally he compared individuals with cells. So all what I want to tell you is he followed a macro approach, he followed a scientific approach, he followed an inductive method of theory building, and he wanted to consider sociology on the line similar to natural science. So this is the scope of sociology in the first phase. So we will be talking about these two important thinkers in our first phase. In the second phase, that is during this period, 1880 to 1940, two important thinkers, Weber, Max Weber, rather you should be writing it completely, and Emil Durkheim. I'm just writing Durkheim only, you should be writing it completely. So they have enhanced the scope, and these two are pure sociologists. They wrote as sociologists, okay? So Weber gave importance to individuals and Durkheim gave importance to society. That means they have followed a different perspectives. Weber followed a micro approach by giving importance to the individual's emotions and internal meanings of individual, whereas Durkheim gave importance to the society by following a macro approach. So macro approach means the wider reality is important, society is important. For example, you are preparing for civil service, okay? So it is because of the pressure from society you are preparing for civil service. That's what macro approach and Durkheim says. It is the influence of society. That's the reason why you are preparing for civil service. But what micro approach say? No, that is not the case. It is your own reason. It is your own personal requirement. That's why you are preparing. Otherwise, if it is pressure from society, everybody should have been prepared. Everybody should have been prepared for civil service. That is not the case, right? So different approaches. Okay, so but if you need to see here the influence of society, for example, let's suppose you are going for a movie in a movie hall, in a theater, okay, so everybody is making noise if some good scenes are coming, introduction of hero, etc. So you may also automatically make some noise. But if you see the same movie in your home, do you make that? No, there is no chance, right? If you are sitting alone and you are watching the same movie again in your home, I don't think that you will make that noise which you have made in movie hall with the influence of society. So there can be influence of society also. At the same time, individual will also important, okay? So here the problem is one person is talking about individual is supreme, that is Weber, that is micro approach. Other person is talking about society is supreme, that is macro and Durkheim's approach. Okay, and followers of these schools are divided into two schools. The followers of these approaches are divided into two schools. By the end of 19th century and in the beginning of 20th century, sociology came to be taught in different universities. So it became that legitimate discipline and it came to be taught in different universities. So the followers of Weber belongs to one school, that is formal school. Followers of Weber, formal school. And followers of Durkheim, they belongs to synthetic school. Okay, so what do you mean by synthetic school? They are the followers of Durkheim, they are the followers of macro approach, they are the followers of considering society as significant or the external reality is significant, okay, and individual is acting in accordance with the external pressure, like that. That's the followers of synthetic school. Formal school, they are giving importance to internal meanings, motives, emotions, and they are the followers of micro approach or Weberian approach. Okay, so these two are the important schools of thought during this period of time. So that's about the second phase. Now what is the problem here? I've told you from the example you might have understood. If you're following only micro approach, you might be ignoring the societal aspect. There may be possibility that you are also preparing for because of societal pressure. Your own individual motivation is there. At the same time, societal pressure also may be there. You can't completely ignore that. Similarly, if you are following the societal approach, macro approach, you are actually ignoring the individual's motivation and will. So there is an exclusion in both. If you are following micro, you are excluding the role of society. If you are following macro, you are excluding the role of individual motivation, right? So if you are following any one of this, effectively it is a partial understanding of society. So what you need to do, you need to consider both. So what will happen is from this period onwards, these people like Parson, Merton, etc., they consider both are required, especially Parson, both micro and macro is required. So you will see a lot of integration of approaches during this period of time. Parson wanted to have an integrated approach with a combination of micro and macro. That means he understood that individual motivation is required, societal influence is also there. Both are required. If you are ignoring any one of this, it is a partial understanding of society. So the problem of exclusion with respect to these two people actually solved here by Parson. And the third phase, you will see a lot of mixing. For example, Karl Popper is combining inductive and deductive approach. Inductive approach means normally used in natural sciences. I have told you in the beginning, initially sociology was using inductive approach, because it was used in natural science, like normal theory building process. You might have done some experiments in chemistry, physics labs in +2, right? So what you have done, you collect data, you make analysis, you make some interpretation, and based on that you will make a theory, and that will be testable. And when you test, every time you will get the same result. But in case of social sciences, we follow a deductive approach. First, you make a hypothesis. For example, you need to conduct a study on domestic violence. You make a hypothesis that, domestic violence is because of alcoholism. Now what you'll do, now you collect data to support your statement. So there may be a subjectivity which will be involved, because you will be collecting the data which is going to suit your convenience. Okay, so that is a problem with inductive and deductive approach. Inductive approach may be more objective, deductive will be more subjective. Which one is better in social science? Deductive will be better. But inductive could also be used to ensure objectivity. So here in this phase, you will see mixing of approaches. Earlier it was inductive approach in the first phase, macro perspective, micro deductive approach. Now here, inductive and deductive mix of approaches. Similarly, C. Wright Mills coming up with scientific and humanistic mixing. Okay, so a lot of mixing will happen during this time: micro, macro, inductive, deductive, humanistic, scientific, etc. So that's about this third phase. Again, let me tell you, there is no such rigid division of phases. We are studying these thinkers in the order, and since we are studying these thinkers in a particular order, it will be very easy for you to understand if I make this division. And that's the only purpose. You won't find this division in any textbook, because these are not standard division. Okay, so finally 90 onwards, see what happened is sociology becoming more of interdisciplinary approach. Like sociology is becoming part of many other disciplines, or sociology is incorporating many other areas in its subject matter. Okay, in the domain of sociology, like sociology of health, clinical sociology, criminal sociology. So the scope of sociology is gradually widening, not only studying social changes. Sociology emerged for studying social change in medieval Europe, but the scope is widening. Sociology is now studying everything in the field of health, in the field of crime, everywhere in the field of public work, everywhere sociology is there. Okay, now whatever you want, you can write here in the fourth phase. Whatever research that you are doing, if suppose you are doing, you can write that also. So I hope you understood. So this is how you need to write your answer. Then let's move on to the PDF. Okay, so this is how, what I'll do in class, normally in regular classes like this, I will give this is a body, this is how you need to write the answer, and I've explained the concept. So that part is done. Then I'll dictate, and when I'm dictating, in between I'll discuss everything again. Okay, so here I'm not dictating as we have not time, and that is not feasible in the online platform. So here what I'm doing is I've taken the notes of one of my student. So I'll read it out and I'll explain in between. Okay, so that we can finish it in maybe another 10 minutes. So sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in response to the challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. Now this sentence is very important, because any question from the first 3 chapters, you have to write about emergence of sociology. And you can't write emergence of sociology in 100 words, 200 words, and not even 50 words, not even 10 words, not even 30 words. You need to write it in one single sentence. And there's a beautiful sentence which is constructed to serve this purpose. Here everything is there. Sociology emerged as a distinct discipline before the challenges posed by modernity in medieval Europe. So we are talking about sociology emergence, we are talking about medieval Europe, we are talking about the challenges, we are talking about modernity. So sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. That single sentence will convey everything related to, the emergence of sociology. And this is how you need to write this. This is a crisp writing. Okay, so initially, sociology was understood as a discipline which will help in understanding the changes in society, right? So to study social change only, sociology emerged, we have discussed that. Initial sociologists intended to develop sociology on the line similar to natural sciences. I have told you, to get that initial legitimacy and with the general obsession of science, they wanted to make it on the line similar to natural science. For example, Saint Simon, I have told you, a thought of social physics, right? And the scope of sociology is gradually widening. In order to be a scientific discipline, the scope of sociology need to be delineated or defined very clearly. So let's understand the scope in 4 phases. There's the initial phase, 1838 to 80. Second phase, 80 to 1940. Third phase, 1940 to 90. Fourth phase, 1990 to up till now. So initially the sociologist attempted to understand society as a whole in terms of macro unit. So this is the initial approach, macro unit. Auguste Comte, the father of sociology. So whenever you write this Comte, P not P there, Auguste Comte, whenever you write Auguste Comte, for the first time in any of your answer, you should be also writing comma, the father of sociology, okay? So Auguste Comte, the father of sociology, in his book, Course of Positive Philosophy and the System of Positive Polity, separated the scope of sociology into social statics. This is not statistics, this is statics. See, this is actually a note of one of my students. So when I'm dictating, he might have heard this or he might have written like this. So some spelling mistakes may be there. When I upload the note in my Telegram channel. See, if you have any doubts related to sociology, you can get in touch with me here. That's my Instagram ID. Or you can join the Telegram channel. You will get everything over there. Not only sociology, economy we have done, history we have done, ethics we will be doing, okay, and quantitative aptitude also. So everything you will get in Telegram channel, and the PDF will also be uploaded in the Telegram channel. Otherwise, if you need to contact me, this is my number, 98955 77775 or 9790 892 697. You can get in touch with me in any of these numbers. You can get in touch with me in the Instagram page, or you can join the Telegram channel, or this is my Facebook ID, Zia Safir. Okay, or this is my Facebook page, Zia IAS. So in any of this, you can get connected to me. If you need to write a test series, if you need to have a mentorship or guidance or anything, GS or sociology, anything, you can get in touch with me. We have the regular classes, online classes are available with StudyIQ. Okay, so for everything, you can get in touch with me. Feel free to contact me. Okay, so the social statics and social dynamics is what they're explaining now. Social static is the static part, as I've discussed. Social structure, then social dynamics is the changing part. Social static is the basic factor of social order, the structure, and which give every system its stability. Social dynamics is the inevitable evolutionary development. That means the change. So social statics is the social structure. Social dynamic is a social change. So what is sociology? Sociology is all about study of social statics and social dynamics, or social structure and social change, according to Auguste Comte, the father of sociology. Comte argued for framing of laws of social organization. I've discussed all these points already. Now Spencer. Herbert Spencer, in his book Principles of Sociology, compared society with an organism. He also used a macro perspective. He delineated the scope of sociology in terms of macro units like family, politics, religion, industry, association, etc. His scope is more descriptive in nature. According to him, society should study. What society? Not society, sociology. Sociology should study the interrelationship among different elements of society. Different elements means all these are the different elements of society, woven together in some intricate yet meaningful pattern. So what sociology need to study? Sociology should study the interrelationship between all these elements which come for a purpose, which is woven together in a meaningful form. Even though it is complex, it serves some purpose. So you study that interrelationship. Okay, there's a comparison he made: society with organism, subsystem with organs, groups with tissues, and individual with the cells. Ultimate reducible element of society is the individual. Similarly, the most reducible element of organism is the cell, like that. Thus, initially the scope of sociology is based on macro humanistic view. The social investigation work to be conducted by using inductive approach. I hope you know about inductive approach. I've already discussed that. Now this is the second phase. Here we are going to talk about Weber and Durkheim, micro-macro. So after 80s, the scope of sociology was further widened by Max Weber, only one B is here, by introducing a micro perspective in sociology. According to him, sociology is a science which studies the social action. So what sociology do? Sociology study social action according to Weber. Now just not studying social action. How to study social action? You study an action and arrive at an explanation of cause and effect relationship. Why that action done, that is a cause, and what is the effect of it? Is there any relation between that? Now how to arrive at an explanation of cause and effect? You can study the meanings attached by the actor. For example, if I am doing some action, you as a sociologist have to understand the meaning, the most probable meaning that I would have attached to that particular action. If you can understand that particular meaning that the actor attached to his action, it is very easy for you to establish the cause and effect relationship. So how to establish the cause and effect relationship in a sociological study? Try to understand the meaning attached by the actor to his action. Now, once you know the meaning attached by the actor to his action, at least the most probable meaning. If I'm doing some action, most probable meaning you should know. Then you can understand the cause, you can predict the effect. That means you can establish a cause and effect relationship. That should be the aim of sociologist. So, a social action taken by the individual and thereby arrive at an explanation of cause and effect relationship. For him, understanding the meanings attached by the actor whose action is the basic scope of sociology. So you need to understand the meaning of the actor. So meaning attached by the actor for his action. I'm doing some action, why I'm teaching. There is a meaning attached by me. So if you can understand that, you can establish the cause and effect. So you will, I want to share your knowledge. So you pass the exam, that is the effect. Okay, so I hope you understood. Next is Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim delineated scope of sociology as the study of social facts. So for Durkheim, it is about the study of social facts. He proposed a macro view for identifying elements qualifying to be social facts. This theory we will discuss in detail, okay? Social action is in itself as a theory. We will have to spend a day for that. Social facts also another theory by Durkheim. Characteristics of social facts, method of studying social facts, classification of social facts. We will see a lot of things. And we are just writing in this, 800 word answer is social fact theory. Here I am just writing in 20-30 words. So I hope you might be understanding my limitation for this particular topic, and that's the reason I have told you, once you have done with the syllabus, you will be in a position to write it better. Okay? Because all these things you will have a very good idea about social facts or social action, anything. Okay, now during this period, two books, one by Weber, one by Durkheim. Methods of Social Sciences by Weber and Rules of Sociological Method by Durkheim played a significant role in explaining the scope of sociology. Towards the end of 19th century and the beginning of 20th century, sociology came to be taught as a discipline in different universities in Europe and America. And during this period, scope of sociology came to be understood in two schools, formal school and synthetic school. Formal schools are the followers of Weber, and they follow which approach? Micro approach. Synthetic school are the followers of Durkheim, and they follow which approach? Macro approach. So I hope this is clear. Okay, then you'll see here formal school and synthetic school. Formal school followed a micro perspective and took a limited view of scope of sociology. According to them, sociology should confine itself to describing, classifying and analyzing the micro units like activities, relationships, etc. And for example, Weber understood sociology as study of social action. Kant used mental relationship like love, hatred, competition, corruption, etc. Von Weiss identified scope of sociology in terms of fundamental social process, that is, the ways of interaction. And Taunis understood sociology in terms of scope of society, or scope of sociology or society in terms of social relationship. So you can quote any of these examples, even Weber itself will be sufficient. But if you have a long question and if you have time and space, then you can write all these. Synthetic school, they are the followers of Durkheim and macro perspective. So according to this, the scope of sociology is in macro perspective is to be studied. According to them, the relevance of a particular social phenomena must be understood in the context of wider reality. That means they are giving importance to society. It emphasizes on studying society as a whole. Durkheim identified the scope in terms of three principal divisions: social morphology, social physiology, and general sociology. We will discuss this in detail when we discuss about Durkheim. Okay? Karl Mannheim divided sociology into two main sections: general sociology and historical sociology. Now we will see the third phase now. After 1940s, what will happen here? Parson and Merton, C. Wright Mills, Karl Popper, mixing of approaches. Parson will talk about micro-macro, Merton will talk about middle-range theories, Karl Popper will talk about inductive-deductive, C. Wright Mills will talk about scientific humanist. Okay, so after 1940s, the scope of sociology was further enriched by the use of combination of micro and macro action, combination. For example, Talcott Parson in his book, we will study this, the structure of social action. This is a theory, we will study this. And the social system, this is also another theory, we will study that. Dismantled the dichotomy of micro and macro and developed an integrated view of scope of sociology. He said studying micro is not sufficient, studying macro is not sufficient because you are ignoring something. If you are studying micro, you are ignoring the societal influence. If you are studying macro perspective, then you are ignoring the individual's motivation. So both are incorporated, both has to be integrated. According to him, sociology should aim at developing generalized theories and we will see his generalized theory. Very only difficult theory in sociology is actually that one, social system. Okay, the only difficult theory, rather only theory which is supposed to be difficult, and we will make it very simple. I'm sure that you will understand everything in social system, and you know the beauty is once you understood social system, you will understand everything in sociology, because everything in sociology is related to system. So once you understood this system theory, you can explain everything in a sociological perspective, sociological language. Okay, because everything is system, family system, political system, cultural system, religious system, everything is system. Okay, we will discuss about that in future. Similarly, Merton proposed a development of middle range theories by studying middle range phenomena. Okay. Now, Karl Popper combined the inductive and deductive approach to develop a more holistic view. C. Wright Mills combined scientific and humanistic approach. And the scope of sociology further boosted by development of perspectives like structuralism, we'll discuss that in the next chapter, phenomenology, that also we'll discuss in the next chapter. These are different topics in the next chapter, and ethnomethodology, structuralism, phenomenology, and ethnomethodology. Also, recently with the emergence of postmodern approach, a trend towards multidisciplinary view. As I've told you, sociology is permeating through each and every aspect of social life now. So multidisciplinary view is visible now. So new fields of study are being gradually added to sociology, which are traditionally not considered part of it. For example, sociology of health. Sociology is now entering in health also. Criminal sociology in crime also. Clinical sociology, etc. are finding permanent spaces in the scope of sociology. Now the scope of sociology is gradually widening. This was made possible due to the incorporation of different methodologies with time. Different perspectives required an emphasis on different aspects of social reality. See, different perspectives like functional perspective, conflict perspective, etc. actually helped in enhancing the scope of sociology. For example, functional perspective had a more humanistic orientation, which resulted in identification of key components of society which are helping in the maintenance of social order. Here you need to add that, which help in the maintenance of social order. See, functionalist perspective we will discuss in more detail when we discuss about Durkheim. If you remember in the first session I have told you inequality could be understood in functional terms, because inequality is vital functions, inevitable functions in society. Okay, so that is a functional term understanding. So functionalist view will try to justify even the extreme abstract forms of inequalities in functional terms. On the other hand, Marxian perspective, that is a conflict perspective, that will help you to understand things critically. So if your question is about critically analyze, you should be actually using a Marxian perspective to write that answer. Even if you are a general study student, your question is about critically analyze, you are automatically becoming a Marx, or you are applying Marxian perspective over there. Okay, I hope you understood. We'll discuss that, critically analyze everything, the answer writing skill we will have, the discussions we will have. So we'll talk about critically analyze, comment, discuss, everything we will discuss in detail. I'll tell you what are these words and how you need to prepare the skeleton for the answer for each. We'll discuss, okay? So if you are following my videos, already I've done these discussions in previous videos in economy and history and everywhere we have done. So actually conflict perspective and functionalist perspective will give you the views from the two sides, okay? One is functional, one is conflict. Now, the positive quantitative methodology relied heavily on empirical reality like science, because positivism was related to science, empirical reality, inductive understanding, study, whereas non-positivist included like Weber, internal, hidden, abstract aspect to the scope. Other aspects of methodology like use of different methods, data collection, inductive, deductive approaches, etc. also seen in the same context. So that's about this particular topic, the scope of sociology. I hope you understood the session. If you have any doubt related to sociology, if you need to study sociology with me, you can get in touch with me. This is my Instagram ID. You need mentorship, you need test series, you need guidance. So not only sociology, GS also. Or if you need my classes, you can join the Telegram channel. So see you guys. Thank you.